are talking about throwing money at the auto industry, $25 billion worth. So is life support from the government really the way to go? But if you don't cough up the cash, millions of people could lose their jobs. What do you think is the best way to go? And some Catholics who voted for Barack Obama are being denied communion. One priest says they must repent because Obama supports abortion rights. What do you think of that one? We always love hearing from you. Give me a call. Here's the number, 1-877-TEL-HLN, as Prime News starts right now. Welcome once again. This is Prime News. I'm Mike Alanos. All right, are you against bailing out the big three, GM, Ford, Chrysler? Would you rather see them go bankrupt? Well, consider this. GM, they put out a new video calling its demise really catastrophic. Quoting here some of the things you're going to see. You think the collapse only affects Detroit and the Midwest? Think again, what about the suppliers? The auto industry spent $156 billion last year in parts, materials, services, supporting jobs in all 50 states. It's the largest purchaser of iron, steel, copper, aluminum, plastics, electronics in the U.S. It collapses. That can't help the economy. So what do you do? Joining us now to talk about this, radio talk show host Chris Markowski. Talk show's called Watchdog on Wall Street. His website, watchdogonwallstreet.com. He's against the bailout. Also with us, Dave Cole. He's from the Center for Automotive Research, supports the bailout. Dave, let's start with you. Why is this the way to go? Why is the $25 billion the way to go here?
Level, I don't like the idea of government involved in this, in something like this. But the other side of it is that the cost of cleaning up a mess is a whole lot more expensive than the cost of keeping these guys going, at least through the really tough part of the credit crunch that we're in right now. If we weren't talking about a credit meltdown, we wouldn't be talking about anything for the auto industry in the way of a bridge loan or whatever. It's just a very practical thing to do in terms of what's going to be the lowest cost for you and me as shareholders in this economy.
Okay, by the way, we're taking your calls, 1-877-TEL-HLN. Chris, you don't like it? State your case.
No, I don't like it at all. I wouldn't mind so much the fact that the government wants to attach so many strings to this bailout. One of the reasons why we're in this mess is because of CAFE standards and what government mandates out of Detroit. I'd much rather say, hey, you know what? $25 billion would buy the average cost of $20,000 a vehicle, about 1.25 million cars. Go out and buy 1.25 million cars and, give them to the post office or something like that, rather than see, the government being involved, because I don't want to be driving around in a 2012 Pelosi.
All right.
I don't either.
Good line there. Good line. Let's get a call in. Stacy in Indiana, you for or against the bailout here?
I support the bailout.
Tell us why.
Well, the auto industry have supported not only just middle class, and which middle class helps out small businesses, but it also has paid into the government for over 70 years. And the big complaint is that the auto industry workers make $50, $60, $70 an hour. That's nothing compared to the sacrifices they make when they go to work on second shift. And then they have to be on second shift. They don't get to see their kids go to school.
Gotcha.
Then they also have to go in there and breathe cancer-causing agents. A lot of them don't live past 70 years old. But that's the sacrifices they make to have a decent living and a middle-class standard in the United States.
All right. State's very passionate, pro-bailout. And Chris, let me throw this to you. I want to look at some of the numbers, the trickle-down. Brad, if we could take a look at that. We crunched some numbers here. When you talk about if there's car trouble, as Brad Swapsey puts it there. All right, big three employ 239,000 people. Healthcare dependents, we're looking at 1.7 million. You see the numbers adding up to over 3 million Americans depending on the auto industry. And to Stacy's point, Chris, what do you do about that? That's a lot of people that are depending on the auto industry being healthy and not going bankrupt.
Oh, you're absolutely right. But, Mike, you know as well as I do that if tomorrow the automakers declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy and they said, you know what, this model's no longer working for us here. And granted, I understand that they've made some significant improvements. I went out and I bought myself my first GM car. All these people are not going to be able to work tomorrow. That's not going to happen. They're going to still go to work the next day. I just want them I want to have a strong auto industry here in this country.
Right.
And I just think kicking them another $25 billion or another $50 billion, it's just not going to cut the mustard.
Okay, let's get another call in. Brad in Rhode Island. Brad, for or against?
Against.
How come?
I think that the companies need to learn that if they fail, the government's not going to step in and help them. I mean, they need to just learn that they have to either merge or make cuts.
There you go. Okay, Dave, let's talk about that. The big three have to get a little bit leaner, right? I mean, you take a look at GM. GM, 8 domestic brands. They make what? What is it, 64 cars, 64 different cars?
Yeah, lots of different cars. But, you know, the cost of a variety of different products is dramatically less because of the global integration of the company and flexible manufacturing. I mean, it's been a huge change in the last couple of years in terms of what you're able to do in this industry. And in a sense, what this enables you to do is things that we were never able to do in the past, in terms of really bringing a much more efficient product rate to market. But, you know, there was a comment earlier about differences in wage benefits, and I think the first caller, the wage that a GM, Ford, or Chrysler worker takes home is essentially the same as what a Toyota, Honda, or Nissan worker takes home. The difference in labor cost is that there are lots of retirees. For the domestic companies, the new guys came in with no retirees and a young workforce.
Right.
And that now with a labor contract that was negotiated last fall, that has changed. But that doesn't apply until next year.
Dave, real quick, and then we're going to go to break. The way we've crunched the numbers, GM, Ford, Chrysler, basically a worker will get $75 an hour, Toyota, $48 an hour.
Well,
you agree with that number?
The fully burdened labor cost is about 70 to 75 for the domestics, at the area of 45 to 50 for the internationals.
Tough to compete then, right?
Well, that's the problem.
There's the problem, yeah.
This changes with the benefits of the labor contract. Essentially, there's parity in a fully burdened labor cost, but the hourly wage is essentially the same.
All right, guys, hang tight. Again, we got both sides of this, pro and con, on the bailout, and we always love hearing from you. You know the number, 1-877-TEL-HLN. Call and be heard. Weigh in on this one.